What's up, guys? Welcome to the channel. Today we're staying strong with our redraft video, so thank you so much for joining me. If you haven't checked out the channel before, if you enjoy what you see at the end of the video or halfway through, hit like, hit subscribe. We're getting really close to 500. I would really appreciate it. Today we're going to be going over 5 sleepers who I think are must-have players to target for your redraft teams, and let's get this thing kicked off. So the first one I want to talk about is going to be Keon Coleman of the Bills. He's going right now as wide receiver 45, according to Fantasy Pros ADP. And something I love about Keon Coleman is I think he's one of the guys who's going the latest, who still has a chance to be the #1 wide receiver on his team. I don't expect him to start the season as the #1 option for the Bills, but he has a chance. And so for that reason, I love the upside going this late in drafts. Round 9, once you kind of fill out your starting roster, I think Keon Coleman's a great guy to throw on your bench, balance out some of the risk, upside, and stability of some of your other players with Keon Coleman, who I believe has the upside to really help your team. Next is going to be a running back, someone who I actually think would be a pretty good player to pair with Keon Coleman, and that's going to be Jerome Ford of the Browns. Something I love about Jerome Ford is I think for the cost, he's going to be a starter for your team more weeks than you think. So with Nick Chubb probably coming back slow from that knee injury last year. Jerome Ford, RB17, 12.42 points per game last year. Nothing super special, but a starter. And at this point in drafts, RB40, to be able to get a starter for maybe a third to half of the season, let's say if Nick Chubb does come back later, I think that's pretty good value for Jerome Ford. And I think he's an interesting guy to target with certain builds. If you're going after some of these rookie wide receivers like Keon Coleman, Romeo Doubs, Malik Neighbors, doesn't really matter. Name the guy, but you can target some of these late round guys who are going to give you some more upside later in the season. Obviously, Neighbors isn't one of those late round guys. But if you want to target some riskier guys, I think Jerome Ford could give you a little stability in your flex position early in the season, that you could kind of take some of that ebb and flow of a riskier upside player. Next, going to be a wide receiver, Jameson Williams. This is a guy who's starting to really creep up my boards. It's one of my favorite guys to take. Couple of things I love about him. #1, he's tied to a very good offense, something I really love for a sleeper candidate. #2, he's going very affordable, wide receiver 48 here, according to Fantasy Pros ADP. And let's not forget, Josh Reynolds left the Lions, so there's a potential role for Jameson Williams. And I really love that he's probably not going to see too much safety help or too much double coverage with Jahmyr Gibbs, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Sam Laporta on that team. Jameson Williams has a chance to break out. He's in a great spot. And at the ADP he's going at, he is worth the risk to target to get onto your team late and see if he breaks out later in the season. Another running back I really like going after here is going to be Rico Dowdle of the Cowboys, going off the board RB46, according to Fantasy Pros ADP. And something I like about Dowdle, very similar to Keon Coleman, it's pretty crazy this late to get a guy who has a chance to be the starting running back for his team, or at least the most efficient player at the running back position on his team. Zeke is going before Dowdle in drafts, and I think Zeke should be going before Dowdle in drafts. But it's no given that Zeke's going to be the most efficient player for this Cowboys offense. Just a couple years ago when Zeke was there, Tony Pollard looked better than Zeke, and now Zeke is even a couple more years into his career. He's less explosive. Dowdle has a chance to be the passing downs guy and earn some work and become an efficient player, an efficient flex player for your team. Maybe an RB2 if he can work into that starter role for the Cowboys. But at RB46, there's really not much risk. And I think with Dowdle, you're probably going to know it in the first 3-4 weeks of the season. If you like what you see, you'll hold on to him. And if you think he's not touching the field enough, I think he's someone that you can kind of cut and not feel too bad about it. Last wide receiver I want to talk about here is going to be Romeo Doubs of the Packers, going off the board wide receiver 54. What I like about Doubs is he's basically the cheapest option RB or wide receiver wise, try to get a piece of that Packers offense in the wide receiver core. I love Jaden Reed. I like targeting Christian Watson, but Romeo Doubs is the cheapest option. And for me, that's a good pick in later rounds, 10, 11. If you can get someone like Doubs, who maybe he is the best wide receiver on the Packers, I think that offense is going to be very hard to distinguish week by week who's the best player. And I think Doubs has a chance to have some weeks where it looks like him. And I think when it comes down to it, if you're getting him the cheapest, he may just pay off the most if all the wide receivers are kind of grouped together and performing in a similar manner. But I appreciate you guys checking out the channel, trying a new little format on the screen here. So if you liked what you saw, shoot me a comment and let me know. I love positive or just constructive feedback, trying to make this channel better. You guys have some sleepers you're targeting. I'd love to hear who they are as well. Shoot me a comment, shoot me a like, subscribe to the channel, please. And I really appreciate you guys tuning in. We're going to keep coming at you. If you have any topics you want to see, put those down in the comments as well. Trying to give you guys what you want to hear about. And I would love to cover other things that you guys would think win your league for you. So thank you. Peace. Take it easy, guys.